John T for the Boxing Voice, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined this evening by American rising featherweight star Ray Ford. How are you, Ray?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Where are you? On the East Coast out there?
Yeah, in New Jersey.
New Jersey. I think that's where you're from as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, look, thanks for taking time out to see us today. First time we've had you on the site, so it'd be great to find out. I'm going to talk about your pro career in a minute because you're motoring along really well there, but it'd be really interested to find out a bit about you first, what got you into the sport in the first place and your amateur background. So what started you off with boxing?
Well, I used to fight a lot in school and like back at home in the streets and stuff like that. And I got expelled and suspended so many times. And one day my mom, she had came and got me from work. And she just basically asked me, why am I fighting so much? Why do I like fighting? I just told her, I don't know. I just feel like I get everything out fighting. I just feel better after I'm done fighting. So she took me to the gym after that.
Excellent. And were you on the street as well? Were you getting into trouble outside of school or?
Yeah, I was getting into a lot of trouble. So
okay, so getting you in the gym, that probably helped sort you out, yeah?
yeah.
Good stuff. So tell us a little bit about your amateur career. I've read up about it. It looks very, very decorated.
Honestly, I had a long amateur career. I've been around for so long, but as far as like my experience in the fights, I only had 55 fights. So like a lot of guys, they think that I had over 100 fights and 200 fights and things, but nah, I really only had 55 fights. It's just the tournaments that I've been in and the competition that I've been competing against. I've been competing with them when I had about around 9 fights and 10 fights going to nationals, fighting guys like that. So that's why it looked like I fought over 100 fights, but no, I really haven't. I just been in there with top experienced fighters at a real young age. So yeah.
So how many years were you? When did you take? How old were you when you took up boxing?
I was 10, but I had my first fight at 12.
Your first fight at 12. And how old are you now?
I'm 21.
21. You've been a pro for a couple of years now?
Yep. Well, yeah, almost 2 years. Yep.
Yeah, so a few years in amateur. So that 55 fights, that's still really good. You know, over here in England, sometimes they don't have as many as that. So that's excellent.
Yeah. I thought y'all be having more over there.
Well, sometimes you do. It depends. You know, some of the ones over here, they tend to decide, probably similar in America, we decide, do you go down the amateur a bit longer and go to the Olympics? Or do some of them want to turn over a bit quicker and maybe go for more money and go for the world titles? So depends which way they tend to go. Interesting what you all do. So good amateur career there. So you've been signed by Matchroom. I know Eddie Hearn speaks very highly for you and they seem to be fast tracking you along. How are you finding the pro game?
At first, it was kind of like, it was different. I ain't gonna say it was difficult. I'm gonna say it was different because in the pros, well, in the amateurs, you know, you basically just throwing a lot of punches trying to build points. But in the pros, you gotta like sit down on your shots more and really like try to hurt your opponent in there. So that was the main thing for me, like just, you know, transitioning and trying to figure out that, just trying to work on sitting down on my shots and placing them at the right time. So that was just the main thing for me.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel more comfortable doing it. I'm definitely more comfortable in the pros, and you see that like in my last couple fights. So
yeah, well, that brings me on to it. I think you've been a pro just under 2 years, and you've already had 8 fights under your belt. So it looked like they're definitely fast tracking you there. You're 8-0, and you fought on some big cards. I think you fought recently on the Canelo Smith card. Is that right?
yes.
How did you find that experience? Because that was a big fight.
It was cool. It was a cool experience. It was still kind of a little different due to the corona and stuff like that. So like when you see the seats, everybody was like more spaced out instead of like all, you know, together. So it was kind of different, but it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, okay. And I think you've also managed to, looking at your CV, I think you've had 4 fights on some bigger. Devin Haney a couple of times. Was it Danny Jacobs as well, maybe?
Yeah, I fought on Danny Jacobs' card back in December of 2019, fought on Devin Haney card in November and back in October 2019 or September 2019. My bad.
And they would have been in front of bigger crowds because that would have been for the coronavirus, obviously. So how did you find it fighting in front of such big audiences?
At first, it was like, it made me nervous. I ain't gonna lie. Like my first couple fights, I was definitely nervous and I feel like it got to me a little bit. and it kind of like held back my performance. But on the Danny Jacobs card, I felt comfortable. For some reason, that was the biggest crowd I've been in front of, and I did the best. Like, that was my best performance up to that point. So I feel like I'm getting more comfortable with it. I'm starting to get used to the cameras being there in my face and then everything like that, doing interviews. So I'm starting to get more comfortable. That's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, as I said, you won your last time out 8-0. So any idea when you might be out next?
I just talked to Kevin, and he was telling me I might be back early April. So
Excellent.
right now I'm just in the gym, and I'm gonna be working until then.
Do you keep ticking over all the time in case a fight comes up quicker than what you expect and you get put on a card without knowing? It's important to be in shape, I imagine.
Yes, most definitely. You definitely gotta stay in shape. Even with my last fight, I found out I was fighting on that card within 2 weeks, so I had to, really like crunch down and just get my weight down fast, and just really lock in real fast. So you definitely gotta stay ready and stay in shape.
So do you keep around about your fighting weight, or how much, like if say you had 2 weeks notice, do you have to shift a lot of weight then, or would you be roughly there or thereabouts?
It depends on like the camp. If I have a long camp, like if I have a 6-week camp, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm already cutting weight throughout the camp. So by the time it's time to start cutting weight, it's not really that hard. It's not difficult at all. So probably like in the beginning of my camps, I'm probably about 20 pounds over, 15 pounds over.
Fair enough. And you can probably shift that quite easy anyway. What, in terms of the domestic scene or even the world scene over there, some of the top super featherweights and featherweights come from America. Someone who springs to mind who's been around a bit longer, but he's already knocking on the door, world honours at 15 fights. Someone like Shakur Stevenson. Do you think that they're going to try and fast track you quick for world titles, or is it going to be a longer process? Because you're still quite young, Ray. Time's on your side.
Yeah. To be honest, I think they're just leaving it up to me, honestly. I think Eddie Hearn is just like one of them people who just he allowed like the fighters to, say what they want to do, and then like he'll just, apply it, or what I'm saying? So it's really I feel like it's really all up to me, but I want to be fast tracked. I feel like I can be fast tracked in this division. I feel like I'm the best here, talented wise, skillful wise. So all I need is experience and, a few more rounds, 10 rounders, 12 rounders to get that experience under me. And then I'll be ready for a world title.
Is there anyone you got your eye on at the moment that you think that, I'm looking for them at the moment? Do you call anyone out over there? Do you like any trash talking? I
called Sean out, Sean Garcia, Ryan's little brother. I called him out, but I don't think he would want to fight me. He's been saying like he wanted tune-ups. But I really don't think he want to fight me. But as far as like the world champions, I'm looking at guys like Josh Warrington and Neverete. And I feel like leading up to that point, I would like to fight Kid Galahad. Who else? There's a couple other fighters. I can't think of them right now.
There's lots of names out there. You've mentioned a couple of Brits there. So you've mentioned Josh Warrington. You've mentioned Kid Galahad. You've got Carl Frampton in there. How easy are those fights, do you think, to make? You've got Eddie, who's obviously he's doing well over in America, but he's obviously British, so he knows them all over. Do you think those fights can be made for you?
Definitely. I feel like that would be the easier fights to be made. That's why I'm saying those guys like that. So and I feel like those fights like that would make me into a superstar that I want to be, going over to the UK and fighting guys like them. And they're great fighters. They got great resumes. So it would put me up there.
Yeah, well, Josh Warrington's still the world champion. He's still undefeated. Yeah. I don't think he's got a fight announced yet. So maybe you need to get onto Eddie to try and get that one made. So have you fought away from America before, Ray?
Yeah.
You have? Well, where have you fought?
What was it called? It was some place out there. I can't remember the name.
Where was it? In Europe? I should have known that. Sorry, I should have looked it up.
Nottingham.
Oh, so it was in England. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And who was that fight against?
I don't even remember his name.
Just a number, right? You finished him off anyway, yeah?
Yeah. It was my second fight, so.
Yeah, that's cool. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, look, really good to have you on the site. Great to get you some exposure. We're looking forward to your career. So hopefully we'll get you back out in the new year and we'll be in touch prior to your next fight and get you on Fight Week. Is that all right?
Most definitely. And I appreciate y'all for reaching out to do this interview.
No worries. We'll get this on Instagram for you, so you'll be on next few hours. All right, mate?
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, Ray. All the best, mate.
You too.
So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, from title, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.